Part 3. We arrive with Rama in the city of Mithila, the sacred home of Princess Sita. King Janaka has made a solemn vow. Whoever can lift the mighty bow of Shiva wins the right to marry his daughter Sita. The foreign prince, dressed in richly embroidered robes, stepped down from his golden palanquin, his bejeweled hands glinting in the sun. He smiled broadly and waved at the people below, confident as he made his way toward Shiva's bow. As he neared the mighty bow, he stretched his soft hands and cracked his neck in preparation. This prince was a man used to getting his way, and he raised his hand to quiet the crowd and make sure he had everyone's attention. As he placed his hands on the bow, a deeper hush spread through the boisterous crowd, like the pause after an in-breath. Not a whisper was audible as the prince strained with all his strength. His neck rippled with veins, and his garments trembled under the strain of his efforts to lift the mythic weapon. He gripped, pulled, heaved, but the bow didn't budge. Murmurs spread as the prince fell to his knees, exhausted and shamed. His attendants rushed to him, one looking worried, another trying to mask a smirk, a third casting a nervous glance toward King Janaka. A group of rowdy children who had pushed to the front for a better view now ran off to beg coins from the prince's attendants, leaving Rama standing exposed. Quiet as a shadow, his robes worn from travel, eyes calm as still water, Rama stepped forward. Guided by instinct, not thought. Sita, 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 echoed in his mind. Whispers grew louder in the crowd, some questioning his humble appearance, others curious or hopeful. Who is he? Another wanderer? Where's his silk? If he can try, can I try too? One man scoffed. A guard stepped forward, palm raised. Only sons of kings may approach the bow, sir. Step back. Sage Vishwamitra stepped out of the crowd, his robes weighty, but his voice light as silk.
This young man is under my care. Let him try.
The courtiers exchanged glances.
The princess is no prize for wandering hermits,
one muttered scornfully. The sage nodded patiently.
The bow will not lift for strength, but only for the will of the gods. Then let us say it is not for the girl's hand, but for the gods' delight. Let the people witness an honest attempt.
We have nobles waiting. Stand aside, sir.
The crowd could sense a confrontation as they leaned forward, their interest stirred by this standoff. Vishwamitra's voice contained a power hard to resist, soft yet unyielding. One of the guards placed his hand on Rama's shoulder and said, "Come on, young man, you've had your fun. Let's have you away from here now." Vishwamitra smiled a little crookedly and turned toward the guard.
I see. You fear the bow will be insulted by a common hand. Then perhaps you can lend the boy one of your pretty gloves.
Laughter roared across the crowd, and the guard blushed. But the mirth quickly faltered when a tall, stern nobleman stepped forward, eyes narrowed, and in a thin, commanding voice said,
This is a game to you, old man.
Now the sage sharpened his tongue like a blade of grass.
No, it is a mirror, and what you see in the mirror is your own fear.
Something about these words disturbed the nobleman, and he waved his hands for the guards to let Rama through.
Let's get this charade over with,
said the nobleman.
He won't be able to lift the bow anyway. Let the crowd have their spectacle. Let him through now.
The guards stepped aside, staring at Rama as he walked purposefully toward the bow, wondering who these mysterious travelers were with such an air of destiny about them. Rama walked forward unhurried. He placed his hand upon the bow, closed his eyes, and whispered a mantra. The bow's surface, aged with battles and time, remained still in his grasp. His hands moved slowly, learning its weight, its shape. He knew he could lift it, but something held him back. Then he noticed a curtain stirring on a balcony. A breeze lifted it momentarily, revealing a pair of honey eyes that locked with his. In those exquisite eyes, Rama recognized truth. He saw himself reflected, his mortal form just a body of flesh and blood, incapable of lifting the bow. But deeper within the vision, he saw his eternal form reflected, the atmic self within, connected to the bow, connected to the crowd, connected to the sky and the sun and everything around him and beyond him. A wave of power swept through him. He lowered his body into a sacred yogic pose, Padmasana, and with his hands in prayer position beneath the bow, he slowly lifted his body, Shiva's bow balanced on the tips of his middle fingers, raised not by strength, but by connection, not by force, but by surrender. The bow rose part of Rama's body, as if it had always belonged to him, as if it had waited lifetimes to return to him. A courtier whispered in amazement,
"It must be some charm, a trick of the old man's."
Another said louder, "He has no name, no title. We can't give the kingdom to a boy like this." But King Janaka held his hands in prayer. He measured each thought, weighing all he had just witnessed. Behind the curtain, Sita held her breath. She too had seen something extraordinary in Rama's eyes, and now her heart beat like a drum. Many voices were raised, but from the edge of the gathering, a silvery voice rose above all others. It was a voice fierce with love and devotion. "This is my brother Rama, son of King Dasharatha, flame of the city of Ayodhya, and keeper of dharma." Lakshmana stepped into view and knelt before Rama with a warrior's majestic grace. King Janaka unfolded his hands and studied Vishwamitra. Then Rama, who had set the bow down as gently as a prayer. Janaka had already made up his mind. Whoever this young man was, the gods clearly favored him. But upon hearing his name, Rama, son of King Dasharatha, his heart lifted. Not only a handsome youth, but a prince with the training of a king. His people would be well cared for. Janaka fell to his knees.
"The gods have spoken,"
he proclaimed.
"Prince Rama will marry my daughter."
Sita slowly exhaled as she clung to the memory of those burning eyes etched into her mind like fire. In the great hall, beneath coiling incense and flickering oil lamps, King Janaka took Sita's hand and placed it into Rama's, his voice a baritone rumble.
"My daughter Sita, the laughter in my heart and the morning dew of this great land."
Their young eyes locked once again, and the world disappeared. Rama saw into her, a flowering vine rising skyward, a hummingbird drinking its nectar, drifting into the blue yonder, a sky with no end or beginning, just breath, just being. Sita saw into him a great fire burning beneath the earth, and deeper still, a dragon of pure knowledge, vast and ancient, not only luminous but dangerous, a power that could destroy or transform in a single blink. They beheld each other across the infinite. Like two orbs, Rama and Sita circled each other, weaving their way across the hall, across the universe. Though the ceremony was conducted around them by sage Vishwamitra, Rama and Sita needed no proclamations, no grand gestures, only stillness, only truth. Above the palace the wind hushed, the sky cleared, and for a moment the stars held their breath for these two young lovers, guardians of dharma. We move now to the city of Ayodhya, Rama's home, which was buzzing with celebration. Its grand gates opened with trumpets and petals in the air. The streets were swept, balconies draped in silks, fluttering in the brisk breeze. But Rama saw only Sita, her eyes returning his gaze, calm, radiant. Through celebrations, great feats of arms, delegations and gifts, as days folded into evenings and evenings opened into more joy, Rama and Sita were like breath and song, separate yet bound together. They tended to the people, to the elders, but mostly to each other. They needed nothing else. In Ayodhya, flowers bloomed twice a year, but in the 12 years that followed, they seemed to bloom always. No war, no sadness showed its face. Not yet. Only the long inhale before fate's exhale. 12 peaceful years had passed, like petals on the river Sarayu, drifting gently, then gone. Rama, once a boy with fast feet and soft eyes full of wonder, had become a warrior of precision, his strength matched by his purpose and grace. His marriage to Sita had become a quiet song in the hearts of the people, not merely a union, but a symbol of balance and devotion that seemed to bless the very air of Ayodhya. In the heart of that great city, Dasharatha, the old king, sat still, his thoughts heavy as ore, waiting to be mined for some final truth. His heart was troubled. The noble king could feel the weight of his years. Time moves faster in the bones of great men, and Dasharatha could feel his bones bending toward the earth, where we must all return in time. In his meditations, he knew the time had come to place the crown upon Rama's head. Not later, not soon, but now. So the king summoned his ministers, sages, and priests, and under the watchful eye of Brahma, the creator, he declared that the time had come to name his firstborn son, Rama, as heir, and for his coronation to be held without delay. The gathered assembly gave their unanimous assent. They knew Rama would be a great king and bear the burdens of the crown with the steadiness of dharma. Messengers on fast horses spread like seeds across the land, carrying scrolls of summons to kings and tribal leaders, so that all would come swiftly to Ayodhya to hear the news from the king's own lips. With a vast assembly gathered, Brahmins in ochre, warriors in crimson, wise men with silver hair and eyes chiseled by time. Dasharatha stood at the center. His old voice, unwavering, rang out across the hall.
Tomorrow, at the hour of golden light, Rama will be crowned.
The assembly erupted with cheers, and the king's smile, wide and weary, revealed both pride and something unspoken in his eyes. Sage Vasishta, old as time, bowed his head and began his work. He initiated the rites with a quiet focus, his words steady. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood and river ash. Rama was called. He entered, listening without smile or frown, to receive the ancient blessings of the gods. After the rites were complete, Rama walked alone through Ayodhya's broad streets, each dwelling aglow with lamps. Children sang his name like a hero in a folk song, and garlands fell from high balconies like blessings from a happy sky. But through the brightness moved a figure cloaked in dusk, slipping upstream through the crowd, a letter pressed to their chest. With urgency in their step, they delivered a summons. A message had come for King Dasharatha. It was from Kaikeyi, his youngest wife, Rama's third aunt. The scroll was sealed with gold wax, embossed with a lotus, elegant, unthreatening. But as he reached for it, a tremor passed through his hand. He opened it slowly, recognizing her delicate script. Each letter formed like a whisper, yet something in the curves felt crooked, as if the hand writing them had been shaking. Outside, the wind changed. The incense in the room curled back on itself. Dasharatha looked up at the sky. The stars that shone just moments before were gone, swallowed by a veil of cloud, unfurling like a dark scroll across the ether. As he read, the words seemed to flicker, not with light, but with a warning. The chamber tilted almost imperceptibly, and at the end, in blotched ink, a name was signed, Kaikeyi. Every one of Dasharatha's senses alerted him. Something was deeply, deeply wrong. End of part 3.